Hello everyone, and welcome to Mr. Reddit 02. Today, we have some of the most shocking and unbelievable stories from Reddit. From entitled parents to crazy neighbors, these stories will leave you speechless. Make sure you watch until the end, because the last story is absolutely insane. Let's begin. Story 1. The Entitled Mom at the Restaurant. This happened about 2 years ago when I was working at a small restaurant in my town. It was a normal Friday night and the place was completely packed. People were waiting for tables, the kitchen was busy, and everyone was doing their best to keep things running smoothly. That's when a woman walked in with her son. She immediately marched up to the counter and slammed her hand on the desk. She said, "My son is hungry. We need a table right now." I politely explained that there was a wait time of about 20 minutes, but she didn't like that answer. She rolled her eyes and said, "That's ridiculous. My son shouldn't have to wait. He's special." I thought she was joking at first, but she wasn't. She pointed at a family sitting at a nearby table and said, "Make them leave so my son can sit there." The entire restaurant went silent. Even the people eating nearby were staring at her. I calmly told her that we couldn't ask customers to leave. That's when she completely lost her mind. She started yelling that we were discriminating against her child. Her son looked incredibly embarrassed. Eventually, the manager came over. He listened to her rant for about 30 seconds. Then he said something that made the whole restaurant laugh. He said, "Ma'am, the only special thing happening here is your attitude." The entire place burst into laughter. The woman grabbed her son and stormed out of the restaurant. And just before she left, she screamed, "I'm leaving a terrible review." Honestly, we were all okay with that. Story 2. My neighbor called the police on me. I had just moved into a new apartment when this happened. The place was nice, quiet, and perfect for someone who worked from home like me. Everything was going great until I met my neighbor. The first time I saw him, he was staring at me from his window. Not just casually looking, staring. I waved to be polite. He didn't wave back. A few days later, I was building a small bookshelf in my living room. Nothing crazy, just a few screws and a hammer. About 10 minutes later, I heard a loud knock at my door. When I opened it, 2 police officers were standing there. One of them asked if everything was okay. I was confused. Apparently, my neighbor had called the police and reported suspicious construction noises. Construction noises in an apartment at 3 p.m. The officers looked around my living room and saw the tiny bookshelf. One of them started laughing. He said, "This is the most dangerous bookshelf I've ever seen." Even the other officer couldn't stop smiling. They apologized and left. Later that evening, I saw my neighbor again. He was standing outside, watching me like a security camera. I smiled and said, "Don't worry, the bookshelf is under control." He didn't laugh. Story 3. The craziest Uber ride ever. A few months ago, I ordered an Uber to go to the airport. Everything seemed normal at first. The driver greeted me politely and started driving. But about 5 minutes into the ride, he suddenly asked me a very strange question. He said, "Do you believe in ghosts?" I thought he was joking, but he looked completely serious. Before I could answer, he started telling me a story about how his car was haunted. According to him, a ghost sometimes sat in the back seat, right behind passengers. I slowly turned my head to look behind me. Of course, nothing was there, but the way he said it made the whole situation incredibly uncomfortable. Then he added something that made it even worse. He said, "Sometimes the ghost taps people on the shoulder."
I spent the rest of the ride sitting perfectly still, trying not to think about it. When we finally arrived at the airport, I practically jumped out of the car. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, the ghost liked you." I still think about that ride sometimes, and honestly, I'm never sitting in the back seat again.
Story 4. The worst coworker ever. A new coworker joined our office and immediately started acting like he owned the place. He would criticize everyone's work, take credit for projects, and constantly brag about how experienced he was. The funny thing? He had only been there for 3 days. One day, he tried to explain my own project to me, incorrectly, in front of the boss. I calmly let him finish talking. Then I opened the project file and showed the boss the real version. The boss looked at him and said, "Maybe you should learn the job before teaching it." The office was silent. He never tried that again. Story 5. The most awkward first date. I once went on a first date that was so awkward, I still can't believe it happened. We met at a small coffee shop downtown. Everything started normally. We ordered drinks and started talking. But about 10 minutes into the conversation, she suddenly asked me something very strange. She said, "Do you believe people should share their phone passwords on the first date?" I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She actually pulled out her phone and asked me to unlock mine. That's when I realized this date was going to be very short. And that's it for today's Reddit stories. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Mr. Reddit 02 for more crazy Reddit stories. Trust me, the internet has plenty more stories waiting to be told.